Hey, buddy, watch this.
That's right, folks. In this video, we're going to talk about the 2020 Hearthstone Summit. That was an event me and many other Hearthstone influencers, some media people attended to learn about what's coming in the next year in Hearthstone. Now, first things first, if you're looking for leaks or dates, those will not be in this video. You should go find something else to watch. I won't make you happy. In this one, we're going to be discussing more philosophical and perhaps directions and trends that the Hearthstone team will take, speaking more generally without, say, breaking the NDA that I and many others are under. That said, to help guide that discussion, I went to you guys and asked, what do you want to know? What are you curious about in regards to the upcoming year for Hearthstone, so that I could do my best to answer as much as possible without giving everything away, perhaps addressing some of the hype we've seen out there in the Hearthstone community, whether that's merited, whether it's not. I think I can give you an honest and perhaps fresh take on what the summit has in store. So that said, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these questions from you guys. Mr. Revert Gaming says, will Hearthstone still be considered a dying game after these updates are implemented? A little bit of a trick question. I don't know if it's a dying game today. It's still bigger than 99.9% of games, biggest card game. That said, it has certainly trended downward in a lot of ways, particularly on Twitch. But the answer to the question is no, it will not be considered a dying game. There's a lot of new stuff coming, both from a card standpoint and a system standpoint, things we have not seen before, and things that will revitalize the player base across a variety of directions. Basically, I think no matter what kind of Hearthstone player you are, except maybe a very, very small subset of people, you're going to have something to look forward to. Now, that said, if you're looking for something really specific, you know, like tournament mode is always the thing that's thrown around a lot. If you're looking for that one thing and that's all you care about, and that isn't offered, then you probably won't be happy. But if you're just open-minded to cool new stuff, then I think you'll come away very, very happy, and we'll see a bit of a return to the splendor of Hearthstone's days of old. Lull says, when will they create their own engine instead of using Unity with all of its bugs? I don't know the answer to that. I think the Hearthstone team is more focused on content necessarily than those sort of back-end upgrades. I've heard teasing for like years now that there's all these little things that are changing the code base. They're going to allow them to do more stuff. Maybe they don't talk about those things with us, but it's certainly not the spotlight of like what we hear about. So if this is a thing that's coming, I don't think it was teased much, or probably not something that's like a shiny new marketing thing to show. So I hope those changes are coming as well. There's certainly a lot of problems with the Hearthstone client. I don't know if that's something we can expect soon or ever. It seems like it's never going to happen. So, but that was not something that was discussed at the summit, so I'm not sure. Do they plan to make a new single player type experience, or are they sticking to the dungeon run adventure style stuff? I don't have any details there, but I think what we saw from last year, particularly with Galakrond's Awakening, is a tendency to diversify a little bit. I don't know if we're always going to get dungeon runs, but I think they love dungeon run style. That said, if you didn't hear, Mike Dene and Peter Whalen left the Hearthstone team to go work on some other cool new project at Blizzard that nobody knows anything about, which was, of course, not the subject of the summit. Maybe Blizzard will be sticking their kind of rogue-like dungeon run, Slay the Spire style stuff in that batch, like for Mike and Peter to make. But I think Hearthstone will still stick to that format. It's worked out really, really well, and tons of people really do like it. What is their design philosophy for tribes in the future? I don't have any insights there. I think they want to keep adding more cards in the tribes we know. I don't know if there's any new tribes or anything coming, but I think they like tribal stuff, particularly because it feeds back into battlegrounds now. It's even better than before. Will the game have a better wild format with set rotations like in Arena? I don't have any specific details there, but I do think wild format is probably one that's, you know, less of a focus for the Blizzard team. I think standard and battlegrounds right now are going to be their two big emphases moving forward, or perhaps even new game modes in the future as well. Like, I think battlegrounds showed what a new game mode can do for Hearthstone. So they'll have some trends and tendencies in that direction, I'm sure. But that said, wild format, they did mention recently, like, we may unnerf cards like Dr. Boom, perhaps, moving into wild format. So that's already in some ways been announced and is a possibility. I hope Wild certainly gets support. Any major changes coming to battlegrounds? Yes. Not necessarily specifically all the things mentioned in that list, but they've been teasing that things like dragons will be coming to battlegrounds in the near future, and I think you can look forward to that fairly soon. Plans for a tournament feature. Again, if you're looking for something really specific out of the Blizzard team, if there's one thing you want, you may not come away satisfied. But if you just want cool new stuff, you're good to go. Like you said, will the game be better for free-to-play players? Absolutely. I think there will be some changes that support free-to-play players and returning players better than ever before. I won't give you specifics, but I think Hearthstone may finally be easier to play for people on a budget. Has there ever been any talk of adding in a multiplayer function of some sort? I have not heard any such talk, personally. Any news for Wild? It's been mostly ignored for a while. I don't really see a lot of emphasis in Wild when I talk to Blizzard. That said, I think Wild has gained a lot of popularity in the Chinese demographic. So if that continues to become the case and Wild becomes a larger chunk of the player base, even in China, I can imagine more emphasis on Wild happening. I do think they do want to focus on Standard and Battlegrounds, though. Will they change the monetization and reward system? I think you can look forward to some adjustments in those veins. Yes. Will there be more quest rewards for free-to-play players? Again, free-to-play stuff, I think people will see some changes in the near future that they're excited to see. Are there any revolutionary changes to be excited for? Says Avinash Tiwari. Yes. I mean, revolutionary is kind of a crazy word, right? Like, I think Battlegrounds, for instance, was revolutionary, right? Like, that was enormous, totally new game mode, breathed so much new life into the game. I don't know that what we're going to see soon is at the same scale, but it's still something we have never seen in Hearthstone before. So people are going to be excited, I think. Will Hearthstone ever get an achievements system? I don't know if ever, but I think it's possible. I think Blizzard wants to do more systems to support like long-term player engagement, and I can imagine achievements being a big part of that. Will the game be better for free-to-play players because the most recent adventure cards have had a lot of deck-defining cards in them? I think the game will be better for free-to-play players, yes. We may just skip anything that says F2P moving forward, like Ninja here. Method says, will the game be better for people just starting the game in the near future? Specifically, yes. And for people coming back to the game, specifically, yes. What was the most interesting part of the summit? The most interesting part of the summit, honestly, the cinematic we saw, maybe. People were like pretty excited about that, but I don't know if this answer counts, but like just hanging out with other Hearthstone people, like other streamers, and just spending time even after the summit, it's really, really interesting too. New content's cool, but you know, getting to know everybody better is even cooler. Do you have any leaks like not general philosophy stuff? No, I do not. Friendly Battlegrounds rooms. Friendly Battlegrounds rooms is not something I've heard about recently, but I do think it's something Blizzard is aware of because we talked about it a lot when I even playtested Battlegrounds way back in like August or September initially, whenever that was. Because like 8 streamers getting into a Battlegrounds match together is pretty fantastic. So I think that would be cool, but I don't know if there's any anticipation for that soon. Do you happen to know if matchmaking will be better optimized so that way you don't just hit a pocket of just the same type of decks? Well, I don't know that you'd even want matchmaking to be adjusted based on decks. There's some problems there. I think it needs to be random who you queue up against as long as it's within a pool of similarly skilled players or similarly ranked players. Pectamok is here also asking about matchmaking of a kind of similar vein. I wouldn't anticipate those sorts of changes. Will there be a significant change to the way expansions rotate? As far as I know, expansion rotation and seasons are going to stay the same. I was wondering if the next expansion is centered around an underlying theme, like the way Descent of Dragons focused on dragons or Boomsday did mechs. Yeah, I think you could say it's comparable in that way. Will they just get rid of animations already? No, I don't think that's a something you should expect, nor even really do we want. Part of the reason Hearthstone's so fun is because of all little those little, signals and tricks and little things that make it sound cool and make it more fun, right? That's tricking our brain into liking the game even more. And when I play other card games that don't do that, I really miss that stuff. So no, I think, as long as animations are smooth and predictable, I think animations are great for the game. Are adventures going to be free again or paid? And if paid, will they contain cards to justify it? I don't know what the plan is for like single player supplementary content. Actually, that wasn't something discussed a lot, but I would imagine you'll see like free dungeon run stuff or paid dungeon run stuff, probably, since we saw that with Tombs of Terror and Rise of Shadow, Dollar on Heist. And you'll probably see paid adventures again too. I think Galakrond's Awakening was pretty good and successful in most people's eyes. I know I'm late, but will Whizbang be moving to standard? I don't know, actually. That's a good question. I don't know the answer to. I hope so. That's a good one, though. When we hear any news regarding Wild, I don't think you will hear any news regarding Wild in the near future, at the very least. Maybe down the road. So those are our questions, actually. Not as many as I expected. So let me add a few extra notes. I saw Frodan comment recently, right? This is probably the most famous comments of all regarding the summit, that this summit, the news, will set up Hearthstone for the next 10 years, those sorts of things. I don't know if I'd go quite so far as to say that. I don't know that I saw anything that was like so programmatic and systematic that it would like, ensure the success of the game forever. But I certainly saw a lot of cool things for the next year, right? And I saw some philosophical tendencies and changes that suggest that the new team and leadership, kind of in the post-Ben Brode era, is finally getting running with the things they wanted to implement, and that means a faster pace and more stuff than we've ever seen before. One particular emphasis for Blizzard was the idea of hope and ensuring that players will have something to look forward to, and they'll know that there are things on the horizon to look forward to. So whereas in the past, we've kind of just been in the dark, like, well, we have no idea what's coming to Hearthstone and when. I think the Hearthstone team wants to build out a better path forward so you can kind of see like, oh, okay, in 3 months, there's this cool thing coming that I'm going to be looking forward to, which is something we've never had in Hearthstone before. So I would say that alone is a really big change. Just giving people a direction to move towards in the future is really, really cool, and will make a lot of people stick to the game much closer than they otherwise would have. So basically, in summary, we've got a lot of stuff coming, some soon, some of it comes later. If you're looking for something exactly like you want, you may come away disappointed. But if you're just open-minded to cool new stuff, I think there will be more than you've ever seen before in Hearthstone, and I think you'll have a path to look forward to as well for the future, so that you can kind of see like, man, there's a lot coming to the game in the next 6 months to a year. And I think that's a tendency that will stick. Now, of course, Blizzard has to execute on those ideas, which means, both from a quality standpoint, but also from they have to get stuff done if stuff's going to happen, right? And although I've certainly seen some things already that are done, there are a lot that is on the way that's I haven't seen. I can't tell you it's for sure real or it's going to happen. Maybe it gets killed at some stage. So we still have to put a little bit of faith and trust in Blizzard if we want to see these things. So, cautiously optimistic is probably where you want to live when you're talking about these sorts of things. But I saw, maybe 10 times more things at this summit than at last summit, or perhaps saw is not the right word, but was, teased of 10 times more things than I saw at last year's summit. And I thought 2019 actually added a lot of new things to Hearthstone that we'd never seen before, been expansion updates, card buffs, right? Like the Wild event with stuff coming back to standard. All that was really cool and incremental. And I think this year has the chance to surpass that by, 2 or 3 or 5 times more than anybody probably would have expected. So yes, the summit was really, really cool. It was very fun. I'm sorry that I can't give you guys more details or leak a card or the expansion name or anything of the sort, but of course I can't. That said, I think there's going to be a big year for Hearthstone. And I know you've probably heard that before, but and frankly, a lot of us have believed it before, but it really does feel like this time is different. And you know, if 2018 was like, you know, a 2 on the excitement level, and 2019 was like a 6, this is like a 14, right? It's like it's substantially higher, and you know, there will be people who are let down. There will be things that frustrate people. There will be missteps along the way. I have no doubt about that. But there's just gonna be more stuff, and surely something is gonna stick. Something's gonna be awesome. You're gonna enjoy some aspect of it one way or another, right? So you'll have something to dig into and something to really, really enjoy. And a lot of that will be, you know, soonish in the next couple months. You'll have a lot of cool things to look at. So that said, of course, I'm sure there will be more questions on this video, but I would just urge you, like, don't dig super deep into my words. Obviously, I'm just speaking off the cuff. There weren't any like hints or leaks or like you know, ulterior meanings behind my words here. It's like, he said this exact phrase in this way, he must mean this. Don't do that, because again, if you're trying to find what you want out of this, you'll come away sad. If you're just open-minded, I think you'll come away really, really excited. So don't try to dig into my words and figure out extra stuff that's not there. Just take it straight up. There's cool things coming, and you'll see them fairly soon. So that said, thanks much for watching. Good luck out there in 2020 in Hearthstone. I'm going to be right there alongside you. And until next time, game on.
Dragons take flight above the ice and snow.